Hi, Robin with Oxy-Dry. And what a beautiful day in the neighborhood. And it's Monday, and I'm not working today because I work Saturday. And it's a little bit cool. It was -5 this morning. Got a city worker over there doing something to that grate over there, that drain. They came by a couple weeks ago and put some, I think they patched a frost heave. But anyway, today we're going to take a look at something for you guys out there who are carpet cleaning. You're going to find this quite interesting, I think, because we're going to go and do a little bit of history. And I'm going to show you some stuff that's going to be quite interesting, I think. And what you're looking at is this is one of my very first ads that I put in the newspaper. Notice how large it is. I'm not suggesting that you guys do newspaper ads, but 26 years ago, this really worked for us. This was in the town, actually south of where I'm living now, about a town of about 30,000. And and this really worked well for me. Take a look at that. Notice what I'm doing here. First of all, when I started off 26 years ago, look at my pricing. $15 per room, and my minimum was 2 rooms, so $30. But we're talking 26 years ago, and there were a lot of, in the town of Penticton, which is where this was, there were a lot of smaller houses, World War II era type houses, you know, the kind of the small little ones they built for the soldiers returning from the war. So there was a lot of that there. It wasn't the big houses like I have, that I deal with here in Kelowna. And at the time, this really did make sense. I was actually able to, this is back when I was using my 13-inch rotary. And I'd go running up to the door, literally with my rotary in one hand, holding it up in one hand, and my vacuum in the other hand. And I didn't pre-vacuum. I was rush the whole time, and I was nowhere near as good at doing this system back then as I am now. I learned a lot over the years. But my thought was, when I started off, I thought long and hard about how I would price, because I wanted to get the work right away. And so at $15 per room, I figured nobody would ever refuse that. And literally, the phone would be ringing and ringing and ringing. I did get a lot of work. I'm not suggesting that anybody do that at all. Just that's what worked back then, and what worked at one time may not work today. But anyway, this is literally one of my very first ads. This paper was, well, there's the date, June 13, 1996. I started in 95, actually. So this was, you know, within the first year. Here's another ad, which then I went to color. This is probably a few years later. I'm not sure what. Is there a date on this one? I don't think so. Oh. Hey, what's this? I think this was somebody who was trying to respond to me, I guess. I'm not sure who that was. But anyway, it didn't affect me at all. That's funny. I just focused in on that so you guys could read what it says. Anyway, I forgot about that. But here's another ad. This is a few years later, I guess. As you can see, now what I've done here is, again, I'm talking more, the points about why you should choose Oxy-Dry. Pricing has changed. Actually, I guess this was an ad that was specifically for furniture. So there's my pricing for furniture way back then. I mean, look at the prices. Isn't that crazy? And of course, there was a protector that I upsold. And then I had the questions frequently asked here. Do we use solvents? how fast will it resoil, how long it to dry, stains, other things. So that was another thing I did. And over here is another ad. I'm not sure, there's no date on this one, but it would have been about the same era. So this was, I would go half-page ads sometimes. And this is back when I used ozone. You can see the ad is talking about ozone there. I don't use that anymore. Here's my pricing. Oh, this was, I guess this was pretty early, because there I am still $15 a room. I think I was $15 a room for about 2 years. And so that was a long time ago. And that started me off. But I don't do pricing, flat rate pricing anymore. A lot of guys are asking, should I or should I not do square foot, or should I go flat rate pricing? And I don't, if I was starting over again, I would not do a flat rate price. I would do things a little differently. But I want to talk to you a little bit about this, what I use now. Now I have used these to deliver door to door over the years, and this is changed over the years too. This is our latest version of this. And this brochure what I primarily use this for now is when I go into the home, we walk through and take a look at everything that's to be done. I will figure out the price, and I'll write the total right there for the customer, and I'll hand the customer this brochure. So they can then go and sit down and they can read this. This will tell them exactly what we're all about. It talks up there, right there, because yeah, free protector, that's included in our cleaning. It talks about how our process works a little bit. It talks about me a little bit. And if you open it up, it goes into details. And I talk about the vacuuming. I talk about the SET system, the soil extraction transfer technology machine. And picture of that there. And notice I'm using cartoons. I did this very specifically this way, and my website is pretty much the same way as well. I talk about the aqueous oxygen. It used to be talked about ozone, which is actually aqueous oxygen as well, but the ClO2 is actually aqueous oxygen as well, just another way of applying or introducing oxygen into the water. I talk about the Nanomax, because that is one of the focuses of our process and our business, is to make sure people understand we're using a very green product. So we talk about that a little bit. And the anti-allergen aspect of the cleaning, which is provided with the ClO2. In this little picture, which was something that I copied but modified a little bit. Pretty good drawing, actually. I did that drawing myself. And that one too, although I adapted another drawing, and that actually is the Kirby with the clear tank I used to have. But everybody recognizes that as a vacuum. It looks kind of cool. It kind of looks like the one from what's that movie now? The Brave Little Toaster. It's an interesting movie if you've ever seen it. Anyway, so we talk about the allergy aspects, and it talks about the AFT protector and everything included. And there's my fresh logo, which I talked about in my previous video, and Oxy-Dry, your fresh choice, naturally, and some of these logos. And I created some of these logos. I created that one. I created that one, which is Dust Mites. I created that one, and I created that one. I like logos, and of course I created that one too. And of course I created that one. I like logos. I think they add a real professional look to what you're doing. But anyway, then on the back side here, we talk about, so this is a 3-panel flyer or brochure. And here I talk about the different services that we provide, which is, of course, wall-to-wall, area rugs, and again, see I have picture, furniture, I have another picture, cartoon picture, mattresses, I have a cartoon picture or drawing of a bed. Talk about the aqueous oxygen there. And then on the back side, I have a stain removal chart. I know you can't copy this. You can do your own version of it. You can create these yourself. You just come up with something pretty simplistic. And if you can't do the drawings yourself, well, you can get somebody to do that. There's lots of people that can create these things for you. So, and this again, it's actually on my website anyway. And then I make it real simple. I just recommend a product that's just readily available. I don't sell a spotter. I don't give one away. I did, but by the time I figured out what it was actually costing me, I realized that it wasn't a cost-effective thing to do. But anyway, so when I go into someone's house and we talk about what they want to do, or even if I do an estimate, they'll be handed this. And this is, I think, a very effective tool to give credibility and professionalism. It addresses all the concerns or questions they may have, and I'll tell them, if you want to learn more, you can go on the website. There's even more information there, and there's actually videos there as well if they want to watch the videos. But the whole point of what I'm doing is to educate my customer, and I think they really appreciate that, and that's kind of been my focus. The way I market is to educate people rather than price point marketing, which is really what this really is, although you can see that I started to add the greater information. So I went from there to the greater information on these ads, and I began to, as we listened to what people would say on the phone and questions they would ask, I started to segue more toward just informing people about what we were including, and was probably, I think it, hi, thanks. Someone just delivered something. Anyway, that took a while before I went away from the, what am I looking for, the word here? Going out of my head. So in other words, what I was trying to say is going to square foot pricing was actually a really good way to go, and really increased our bottom line rather than flat rate pricing. That was what I was looking for. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it, certainly maybe in the beginning, because if you're wanting to try to increase your volume right off the get-go. But I did find, by the way, just one thing I want to just point out. Rather than have a 3 rooms for $89 or whatever, notice that I did a room pricing, which gave me the ability then to advertise a very low dollar amount right off the get-go. My minimum, as I say, right in the beginning, was 2 rooms for $30, which is ridiculous. But nevertheless, I get the idea that when someone calls you up, you want to be able to give them a price and get your volume up right away. But a few years later, we did move away from the flat rate pricing and went to square foot, and that was when we really started to see the profit margin start to dramatically increase. But in order to do that, I had to start much more focused on educating people about why they would or should choose Oxy-Dry. So now, this is where we are now, and this is definitely working really well for us, and it's just a tool that I use, and so I do. It just makes it so easy to hand people this brochure, because very often after I hand them the brochure and I start going and vacuuming the carpet, I turn around and see them sitting in the kitchen reading this very carefully, and I think it really helps to educate them, and they're much more likely then to be sharing this information with people that they know, and we get a lot of referrals and as a result of that. So this is a tool you can use. So there's just a suggestion for you, and I hope that'll help you out. Have a good day.